I remember it now. My chest still hurts.
That was the whole card forgettable. If we're gonna be honest,
No, not 100%. If you're going to start from there, no, because there was Manil Karp versus Dos Santos.
No, but
there was some good fights on this card, but everything will get 100% written off by that performance by your boyfriend Sean Strickland.
don't even fucking start. Sean, honestly, Sean.
Let's be
Don't
friends.
even fucking start. Sean. Let's just Tom, grab that please. Because you made a bet.
Oh, I didn't even think about the bet. Not these ones. Are you talking about these
No,
ones?
I'll let you have that. So me and Sean, me and fucking Tom made a bet before, and I was like, Sean's gonna win, bro. He's gonna win. And
I was hoping you forgot.
And
I was
Tom
really
was like,
hoping you forgot.
Tom was like, what are we gonna bet? I was like, if Izzy wins, I'll scull a drink, which is
Nothing to say.
easy money.
Easy.
But to Tom, I was like, you got to skull
You got to
two.
skull two. And I was like, yeah. I did not in 1 million years think that Adesanya...
No one. Except me. Except me and the boys.
Sav was so keen on the idea of... And the myth that Sean Strickland could beat Adesanya.
Weirder things have happened. He doesn't want to
How
win
many?
anymore.
Because we spoke about this, Matt. So then your biggest upsets, right, in UFC history, where does this going to rank? It's going to be
Number. It has to be
one or
top
two?
three.
Oh, top three.
At
for sure.
least. Easy.
Top three for sure.
Because no
The
one.
styles,
no
everything
one
that
gave
played into it. I mean, come on.
No one gave him a chance.
No one. The
And I was
stylistic
riding on his
fight was-
fucking cock. If I show you my sports bet account, Tom, you would fucking be... I haven't won any money because I had it in a multi. But if I showed you my sports bet, every single fucking multi had Sean Strickland. Every single one.
No.
Because I just...
your money where
Weirder
your
things...
mouth is.
Izzy doesn't... He fights like he doesn't want to lose.
What was,
And we were talking about this during the fight.
Yeah.
Like, Sean Strickland, he wanted to win. Izzy fights like he doesn't want to lose. He's a great fighter. He's probably a better fighter than Sean. He 100% is a better fighter than Sean. But he doesn't have that thing in him anymore that tells him to go. Where was fucking Gastelum round 5? Where was Gastelum round 5 tonight?
That's what you mentioned.
He was
to me.
losing.
Yeah, that was what was meant, and that 100% thought of like, oh, that triggered off in my mind of...
He was fucking
If I'm
losing,
going
bro.
from this untouchable, because from the start of the fight, though, I was thinking, as long as he can, jab, low kick, keep it, keep you happy, keep your distance, keep your range, make it... He got cracked, and he got cracked hard in the first round. He got cracked hard, and then all of a sudden it's like, how can you work your way back to that to then get to your mental game plan?
Easy, bro. You just keep... Look, I'm saying easy as in it's fucking easy. It's not easy.
No, it's not. But for the best striker in the world to come up against someone that was talking about, all before the fight, it was like, you'd say, the defensive deficiencies of Sean Strickland's stand-up.
Yes, very rudimentary fucking stand-up.
Right?
At the end of the day...
A pressure boxer against an absolute technical wizard of setting traps and being able to hit you on the counter. But my thing that I was saying to you was, as the fight's going on, he's like, you've got to still be able to hurt him, though. If you don't deter him, it's not going to...
damage is king.
Damage is king.
Damage is fucking king,
And then,
bro.
and then there was a lot of talk of optics, and it's like optics of the fight. But when the optics of the fight, you were calling it the whole way, going, Sean Strickland's winning the fight. And I'm looking at it going, well, Adesanya maybe by this might be doing
He's
this.
picking him apart.
Yeah,
This is that.
he's still landing like this. But then numbers come out, and it's like it still wasn't
Because
enough.
at the end of the day, what have I been saying all night? It doesn't matter. It does not matter who looks like they're winning. You got to think like a judge. At the end of the day, you got to think like a judge. Whoever's trained combat sports, whatever you know, throw it out the fucking window. Because you have to look at it as a MMA judge. And when that person is pressing you to the cage every fucking 5 seconds and throwing, and whatever you're throwing is not landing, you even said it didn't even look like Sean was in a fight. It did not even look like Sean was in a fight,
damage to the face, because there was
Nothing.
there was a fight earlier.
Nothing.
There was a fight earlier in the night as well where it was like all leg kicks, 40 plus leg kicks, but like 6 punches to the face, 6 punches to the body, and it played out exactly the same way in the main event. Where it's like if we're looking at a fight where a guy hits a guy 50 times in the face, 6 times in the leg, 50 times in the leg, 6 times in the face, how do you judge that? How you can look at
wild,
someone,
man.
And that's how he got it. It was
Well-
enough, nothing was set up enough, didn't do enough damage. And the way Izzy looked at the end of the
still
fight,
wigging out.
Mate, Sean Strickland was walking him down in the
And-
5th
and
round,
fucking
going,
bashing
come on,
him.
doing the Sean Strickland
Oh my
thing.
God.
Walking him down like, come on, let's actually fight, to Israel fucking Adesanya, where he literally is the best striker in the world, and Sean Strickland walked him down, yelling at him, going, come on, let's actually
Let's go,
fucking
cunt.
fight.
Let's fucking go,
what
cunt.
the flying fuck does that do for the idea of like what is the best combat, and to just
Sean Strickland, you
You've just
are
changed everything,
officially
mate.
the best
You
striker
changed it.
in the UFC. That's it.
oh, that's why
You can't say it.
go there.
You can't say that. You can't say that. Sean Strickland, at this very fucking moment, is the best striker in the UFC because Israel Adesanya is the best striker in the UFC.
100%.
And legend goes, when you beat someone at something, you're better than them.
Yeah.
And it may not make sense.
Makes no sense.
Everyone right now, Sean is very close to my heart.
Yeah, he is.
Sean to me, he's very close to my heart. And it may be for whatever reason, but when I see him, I see myself as the champ. he
that championship
and
mindset.
for all the Aussies here, he's more Australian than Israel Adesanya.
Well, Izzy rocked the garb of one star, and
Izzy's Chinese.
He came out with the red shorts and loved
He's
China.
fucking
And
Chinese.
Meanwhile, it was Strickland that was playing up wearing the Akubra at all the press conferences, and he's playing the American card over there. He's a
Honestly.
true patriot.
Steve Irwin would root for Sean Strickland.
It's a very good chance.
There's a very good chance.
Up there in the north of Queensland.
If Steve was still here, if you had to tell him who was winning the fight on the weekend, he'd say Sean, 100%.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I agree.
I would have to say that would be true,
Fucking
mate.
hell, I can't believe that.
Dude, if there was some footage of Sav and I watching the fight with our friend Jacob here.
Shout out.
Great guy. Love that guy.
Oh, my God.
But there was Sav stopped breathing for a sec. I could not stop saying F-bombs and yelling at the screen, and Sav went total opposite because it was like, this is not happening. Nothing could be greater in my life than this happening. And Sav literally stopped breathing.
So Sean,
He froze.
Sean hit Izzy in the first round and he fucking stunned him. And my heart just was like, oh my God, because I've been talking all this shit. I've been talking so much shit to everyone that Sean's going to win. And my heart just stopped. And I looked over and I seen Tom, and Tom was screaming. He's like, I can't believe this is happening. And I'm fucking there. I'm literally holding my chest because I honestly thought I was going to have a fucking heart attack. And Jacob, he's a casual MMA fan. He's sitting there and he's like, what the
Dude, the greatest. We spoke about that after it all went down. I thought about it and went, mate, you just had some of the greatest footage to see, a sporting achievement and contrast of what the hell went down. I could not stop yelling. Sav literally went to a statue and I thought he stopped breathing for a second. It was like he was like
I couldn't. I was looking at the TV and I was like, did Sean Strickland just rock out?
literally rocked him, dropped him, hurt him bad.
Do you know what was fuck though? I had Sean Strickland in round 2. It was on my sports bet.
56?
56 to 1 because they power played it. Like Sportsbet had a special for round 2 Sean Strickland. So after the first round, I was like, I'm gonna win a lot of money.
He gets off the stool.
I'm gonna win a lot of money. But fucking Izzy just didn't want it enough. At the end of the day, if you watch what Izzy did to Kevin Gastelum round 5.
Yeah. I'm willing to die in here. That whole, there's a very famous footage of it. Yeah.
It's not, or he has, sorry, Eugene, but obviously he didn't get good corner advice. Like, you could be down.
Yeah,
at the end of the day.
Yeah, that's a hard one
if you're going into the 4th round, you shouldn't be certain that he's winning that fight.
Here's one we'll touch on then for that. The first round and the referee decision when he hurt him, and because it was Mark Goddard. He's getting hit on the side, so he drops him and he's hitting him, but the strike's coming. Izzy could look at the ref and be like, "Nah, I'm good." And even the commentators said he didn't even get close to stopping the fight.
Speaking on the commentators, Laura
Sanko,
fucking hell, she did a good job.
Nailed it.
She did. And I don't want to make it like a big thing as in, oh my God, a girl was fucking commentating the UFC.
She's fucking so good.
Do you know what? That's a massive thing.
She's so good.
Because she didn't just do it good.
She filled in all those gaps, man. All those funny things about being a commentator. She did it to the nth degree. She's so fun.
We're massive Joe Rogan dick riders.
And broadcast fans, we like to live, what's good and bad. Good stuff.
I'll ride and die with Joe Rogan till the day I die. I'm getting a whole sleeve dedicated to fucking his podcast.
Yeah, you are.
But what Laura did tonight, she is, honestly, one of the best commentators I've ever heard. She was so informed.
Yeah.
And she was so useful to the commentary. She almost took DC's job away from him.
Yeah.
Because DC was just fucking relaying what she said because she was so good at it.
And then actually saying it to her on the broadcast.
I think there was good.
If there was a prelim fight where Laura Sanko said something.
One sec. We're back. Okay. We were talking about how fucking Laura Sanko to me, and we were just talking about how we're massive Joe Rogan dick riders.
Yep.
Tom's been a Joe Rogan listener since pre-200.
Yeah, 44. Yeah, started listening 44 early.
I've been a listener since pro 200. Laura Sanko did a better job tonight than Joe Rogan could do.
Yeah, it's just styles and what you're looking for in commentary. I mean, how well informed, but also her little in-between bits is good. Is fucking fantastic. Her timing, her rhythm. I was saying before we cut out, she caught something, or she said something in DC.
The gorilla. I know what you're talking about.
Do you remember it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So she dropped something, an analogy, and DC was like, I'm taking that. And then he goes, I don't have many analogies, so I'm going to take that and run with it, and then I'm just going to incorporate it, and it'll be mine. And it's
I think it was the Malarkey fight.
Yeah.
And Mekadesi was Mekadesi?
McDessie, yeah.
McDessie was so much smaller. She was saying how he needs to be like a gorilla, like he just needs to fucking wade through the fire.
You're right.
Basically. But she labelled it differently.
Right.
But it was something about wading through the fire. Or no. You got to make yourself big. Like McDessie needed to make himself bigger because Malarkey was so much bigger than him. So you got to press him forward. You got to act big
because his nickname was the Bull, and it was like, well, you do have to play out the bull, and then what is that? The idea of peacocking. You've got to present yourself.
You got to peacock. You got to be a gorilla.
You present yourself to be so intimidating, and that's what pressure and walking forward does. Which goes back to the main event. That was all Sean Strickland was supposed to have against Izzy was pressure and boxing. But it was like Izzy was set traps. Izzy would be able to lane him into this. He'll be able to turn him into that. He'll be able to do this. He'll be able to hit him in the leg. He'll be able to hurt him on the way in. He
didn't do
any of it.
Shit. He did fucking nothing.
It got hard to watch.
And Izzy, this isn't me shitting on you. Actually, do you know what it is? You should have wanted that more. At the end of the day, he should have wanted that more.
I know whatever. You thought you were just going to run through him, which is fair enough. You guaranteed it to that company that there was no way that Strickland was going to be able to beat you to get to that. And now we have Sean Strickland as the UFC middleweight champion of the world.
The thing is, you gotta want it more.
You want to get into fight. The only thing is,
and how crazy is this? My friend sent me a meme the other day. Shout out to Dale Pavey. You're freed now. Free Dale. But he's a freak with MMA. But he sent me a meme the other day, and it was these three people can be the UFC champions in the next 6 months.
Yeah.
Sean O'Malley before he won.
Yeah.
Sean Strickland.
Fuck off, yeah.
Colby Covington.
Yeah, because Colby's supposed to be fighting Leon Edwards.
And he's going to beat him.
It's tailor-made to do it.
Yeah.
It's tailor-made for it.
He's going to beat fucking Leon. You think Leon's going to fucking beat Colby?
Well,
Colby's a gun.
But Leon got through because of
To
tactically
this
he got
podcast,
through Usman.
I'm sponsoring Colby and Sean. You probably have the wrong idea.
Here is Sav. This podcast and everything, Sav is a true underdog story, mate. As an underdog.
I love the underdog.
People can't know it's a small man when they can't see it from the podcast about
Underdogs
how low
have
in
better
stature he might be, when no one can figure it out.
Underdogs have better odds. That's all it is.
Underdogs always pay better, man.
They always pay better.
He loves it. He loves
But
a good underdog. I can't believe how much you were so riding him. We were texting back and forth, and you were so. I'm throwing it, going absolutely not. Everything I'm looking at, going, how does this happen? There's absolutely no way that Izzy.
I'm telling you, I just felt it. You know when you can. It's just something in the air. Like he felt like he had such a confidence, and Izzy was so flat all week. Because I watch obviously the press conferences, the post press conferences.
Bit of the hype, guys.
I listened to all of it, and Izzy just felt flat. Like he wasn't giving him shit. He was trying to make things that he said. Like he was trying to make himself angry.
See, I think by that he was trying to exude.
He was trying to make himself angry.
I didn't even look at it. I looked at it as like, I'm not even concerning myself with what you throw back at me. Your stupidity, your larrikin, like being a larrikin, which is what Sean Strickland is, right?
He's a larrikin.
He's a larrikin. And that's why you fucking love him so much.
I fucking love
you
Sean,
are a
bro.
Sean Strickland, right? And now that he's the middleweight champion of the world, mate, Sean, if you're listening, mate, you have a ride or die dick rider over here on the Sav.
All those
with
memes.
Savas over here. It is unbelievable.
All
with
those memes.
How that played out. That should never have happened. And yet, I love Dan Hardy, right? The UK analysis
Shout out. One of the best. Probably
the
best analysis in the game.
Some of the best. The Full Reptile Radio, Full Reptile YouTube channel.
Probably the best.
Love it, mate. For fight analysis, he didn't even analyze the fight as a fight style. He analyzed it as a philosophical dilemma of how Sean Strickland made it without having any of the fight skills that you need to make it to the highest skill level, preconceived skill level of kickboxing, Muay Thai, feints, traps, all that kind of stuff. And it wasn't, if he's going to beat him, he goes 10 times out of 10, he should beat him.
He should.
Right? That was what he said. That's not, and then I took that, I was like, yeah. You think this should not have played out this way, mate. It still boggles my mind. And then I just think in a fight, though, it's literally damage. If you can't deter the other person
mate, it's
to
a fight.
get on you.
Tom, for the people that are just tuning in, or not even just tuning in now, if you're in a fight and someone is countering you, like if you're in a point-based fight, and someone's countering you, but you're pressing the pace, you're going to win. 80% of the time.
Doesn't work that way in jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, because jiu-jitsu is for life. You know what I mean?
So I know what I'm saying, man.
Like you go, I go, you go, I go. I get you for life. You are dead. You are dead now.
I hold you like...
What is that quote? What is that quote?
I don't know. I don't know which one
It's one of the Gracies. It's like jiu-jitsu is a game of I go, you go, I go, you go.
Right.
I got you forever.
Oh, okay.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a game of you'll never get... If the ref's not there, you're dying.
You're right, yeah.
Which is very true.
Well, the idea of the slow game, and if I have enough time to hold you down and we don't have rules or regulations and I can hold you onto the ground and I will pin you, control you, maintain you, take away all your base, all your grips, anything you can use to protect yourself until I can lock you off or strangle you to such a way that I can choke you to sleep. They say there's a hierarchy in jiu-jitsu, and it would be the choke is king, the armbar is queen, and the footlock is the dirty thief in the night.
I'm sorry for laughing, but it just reminded me of a meme. Have you seen this memes going around? Craig Jones is such a piece of shit.
We love him around here. We love that guy.
He's ruined so many lives.
he's broken hearts. He's broken minds.
Gordon Ryan is statistically better than him, and he has broken Gordon.
He might have broken it mentally.
So it's just a nub. Oh. But there's this meme going around of like John Danaher. It's like John Danaher at night when he's in bed, and it's a picture of a cartoon, and it says pre-2019 or whatever, and it's got pictures of him and like Craig Jones, and he's like, because no. And like Nicky Bryan and Nicky Rod. Imagine being Declan and your first day in America is rolling Nicky Rod.
That was the story of Declan's first trip.
And he's grown a beard now, and he's a man, and he is better than everyone.
He was a man a long time before he grew that beard, mate, sir. Don't pull me into your shit. But it's a manly man.
I can talk shit to Declan because I don't roll. So
see, don't pull me in. I see him in rolling. So you do your kickboxing lessons where you know how good he is, sir. Declan, you do what you want to do, mate. I love
you do what you do.
You grow a beard. I'm a fan of it. You shave it. I'm a fan of it. I like you pretty boy. I like you beard like. It doesn't really matter.
When Declan posted his first picture with a beard in America, I was like, oh my God, he's had his villain arc.
He's
had his villain arc.
Hey man, at least I used to joke about him for someone that can grow a beard quite easily, right, Sav? We're from the genetics where a beard, it comes...
Declan didn't have one in Australia.
He didn't have one. He's never had one in Australia. He grew one out over there. It's actually not the worst for a beard.
No, so. It's good. And he's ragdolling people. Probably going to be... And when he
got the Euro trials, he's going to the ADC
we're doing a
Euro
potty
trials.
when he gets back.
Oh yeah, he will be. Yep.
But when he comes back, everyone at M16 that's been talking shit, go to bed.
Who?
You're all fighting for superiority.
How dare you, sir? Off. Do not, as the man that doesn't grapple in the gym, you stay to your private kickboxing lessons, sir. Don't you throw me out. Don't you throw anyone under the bus.
What you are trying. As soon as Declan leaves, I can see it at M16. You're all like, who's going to be top dog now? Who's going to be...
when he leaves. Because he's the man. Because he's the man. Declan's the man. He knows he's the man. And then he goes out and goes to the world stage and then proves he's the man out there.
That's why you were second in charge, Tom, because you're a good bitch.
How dare you, sir? I hate being a bitch to people.
Anyway.
There's a few at the gym that I would definitely take that mantle to. I'll 100% own up to that.
Anyway. Sean Strickland, you've heard all I need to talk about you. Now we'll go to Taito Volkov. That's how I seen it going.
Good.
Yeah.
Not good. I said good, like no good. Thanks to take it to the co-main.
I personally seen it. I seen Tuivasa lose.
But again,
well,
you said that, but why? Hey man,
multi was good.
Yeah, you think Tuivasa is going to lose? You gave up stylistically when it came to your backing of Sean Strickland. If you thought Volkov would beat Tuivasa in a fight game,
of course I want Tuivasa to win. No, you can't compare Sean Strickland to Tuivasa. You can't.
No. But who were you comparing him to while you're watching the fight?
I don't know. I just had a feeling. I was like, fuck, he's in Australia. People get around him here. Like, people will like Sean.
He definitely tailored to the crowd. He wore the nicer Kubra.
I attribute Tuivasa to...
Had a great mop on him for this fucking fight.
Honestly, Mark Hunt times 20.
That's what I was trying to get to. Is like you were saying, he's Mark. He's just another... It's a Mark Hunt.
No, but he's way more athletic. He's a fucking guru, bro, and he's a sick cunt. Like, he's a funny dude, but I think he has a bigger brand than he has a bigger career. Like, his brand could be amazing. His career, he'll never be a title holder. Not in the John Jones era. Our Cyril Gahn era. He won't.
Well, he becomes a thing. Oh, it's a weird analogy, but it's
Cyril Gahn's a great fighter.
But
John Jones is that much better that it outweighs it.
What were you saying during the fights as well, mate? John Jones, after Stipe, is going to retire.
He will. And
So-
do you know
so
why?
then what's
Because
left-
there's-
so-
what's left for him?
Well, okay, so we'll then just roll that over. If we're talking heavyweights, Volkov's up there. Volkov with what he did to Tuivasa fighting in Australia gave a hell of a show on that fight.
And do you know what?
He
That
put
was,
himself through
to
the
me,
fucking
fight of the
fire.
night. Fight of the night.
Great fight.
Fight of the night.
There was a few. Manel Karp versus Dos Santos was a
Shout
hell of a fight.
Just shout out to Tai Tuivasa. If you want
Mate, he
to...
stood there and he gave
Bang.
it. He gave him every little lick of it, breaking his leg down. He's kicking it. He's like checking. Doesn't matter. I'll kick through your leg. And he was there in the fire.
Sorry, Tom. For people who are wondering what I say with he's the Australian Mark Hunt, that is not me at all giving shit to Mark Hunt.
Mark Hunt is an MMA royalty
Exactly.
in the Oceania area. He is
that wasn't a
royalty
dig.
to us.
It wasn't a dig at all. It means he's gonna win some, he's gonna lose some. But he's way more athletic than Mark, so he might win some more. But he's never gonna be champ.
But if you also know, then go further than that. If you know Mark Hunt's story and why that is then the analogy of Mark Hunt, it's because UFC, when they took the contract off of Pride, when Pride got bought out by the UFC, they didn't even want to let Mark Hunt fight in the UFC. They just wanted to pay out his contract because they thought he had such a win-loss record, and they didn't want that style. Because Mark Hunt is an absolute knockout artist, and he was a beast of a kickboxer. And what did people do? Grapple. They'll grapple with him then, and so that was the issue. But that's Tuivasa's, and he knew it. He doesn't like to grapple. He'll go in there. He's going to stand in front of you, prove your worth every time you step in there. And Tuivasa does that 100%. Along with watching his fighting style, we were very interested in knowing what his walkout song would be. I'm not sure I actually heard it because we were yelling too much when we were talking.
I didn't hear it.
But just like you said, his brand, Tuivasa is.
He's a massive unit.
Tuivasa,
he's worldwide.
Here's what we can roll off of this, right? Is what UFC gives you a platform. And they say that, right? If you give you a platform, and you said this, it's the fighting platform. But how many eyeballs get onto the fighting platform for you to roll that over into something else? And if you may not have the best fighting skills to be a world champion, but you can roll that to where you're Drink West, Yellow
Drink
W,
West,
mate, he is going to be just fine in whatever he does.
He's going to be fine. He's a fan favorite. We
love him. We love Tai Tuivasa.
Whenever Tai is fighting, I will pay for the pay.
We love it. Mate, every which way. He came up and he throws himself against all of them. Like, who has he not fought now in the top 10? He's literally fought everyone in the top 10.
Everyone. Besides Ngannou. Jones now.
And Ngannou and Jones. And Ngannou.
Did he fight Stipe?
No,
he never fought Stipe.
Never fought Stipe. Stipe was the champ when he was almost on his come up.
And now...
That's how long it takes for heavyweights to fight.
Now we're going to get into one of the best fights of the night.
Yeah.
Manil
Karp versus Dos Santos.
Shout out.
Absolute barn burner. It was Charles Oliveira trained Dos Santos. He was supposed to fight in the Contender Series.
Dos Santos looks like a little mini Oliveira.
Flyweight division.
In the way he fights, like he's so loose with his striking because he knows if he gets taken down, he'll be all right.
Yeah.
But Manil Karp, fuck.
Yeah.
He's a problem.
Technical stand-up, the brilliance of Manil Karp to lead. And what it was so fascinating about it was someone that put so much pressure on, like Dos Santos, being trained under Oliveira, who's obviously a great pressure fighter, throw wild shit at you, against someone that's such a good striker that can hit you with all the wild shit in the world as he counters you. But even as a lighter guy, he can be in not as entertaining fights because if you're not put in as much danger to get hurt, you're not going to pressure forward, so you can just pick him apart. But when he hits you with things, he's hitting you with leap flying knees. Mm-hmm. He got made to fight in that fight.
That's just the problem of the division, though. Like, that's what I said when he fucking cracked Dos Santos. He cracked him like he was a fucking featherweight.
Yeah,
like hard.
He was hurting him.
And I can see why people dodge him now.
But that's what made it.
Because it's such once you get to the top of that division, once you lose, it's such a fucking fight back up.
Well, look at what has been the last 3 years? It's been 4 fights between the same two guys.
Same people. Because to break into that group, it's so hard.
Got to be expert.
It's the hardest of all.
We say the lighter you get, the more technical you got to be, because
It's just not a sought after division.
well, they were almost going to close it down with Mighty Mouse.
Mouse.
They got rid of Mighty Mouse, and then it was Henry Cejudo, right?
How's fucking Shevchenko on a fight night?
Because it's Cinco de Mayo, so it's for Grasso. They made a new belt for her.
Yeah, they're doing it because they know it won't do pay-per-view numbers.
Well, yeah.
I won't buy it. I would buy it. But I'll buy everyone. I'll buy all the pay-per-views.
If that's the thing. Fight night, she's the main event, sure. It's a title fight, so it's weird that it's on a fight night. But the numbers for Shevchenko, that's what makes it hard. She's all up in the UFC 5 press release. She's the character to build up. Nunes is retired. What other female is bringing in all the numbers and the eyeballs?
Who was before Kate? What's a Volkov?
What?
Volkov. And no. Who was before Cape? What was the fight before Cape?
Oh, before the Manil Cup Dos Santos fight. It was Tougher.
Yeah.
The knockout.
That was
after the eye poke.
fucking-
Oh, the eye poke, and then the eye poked him again.
Yeah.
At the same time.
Yeah,
he thumbed him in the eye, and it was like, you got to be shitting me.
He tried.
Dude, he tried to do the same thing. No. Give you that little thumb right there in the eye, and then a gadoosh, I'll hit you with that little lefty. But yeah, that was the fight before. He ended up knocking him out.
My biggest upset of the night was
Mate, the main
Josh
event.
Jenkins. No, Josh Jenkins. Oh, no. Besides the main... Let's see, the main event is not an upset to me because I'm a Sean Dick rather. But Josh Jenkins, honestly, to me...
Dislocates his elbow.
Fuck, bro. What do you do?
Dude, the guy, a striker went, I'm going to grapple with you. And in the grapple exchange, he
was
took him
beating the
down
fuck out of him.
and he broke his arm on trying to prevent a takedown.
He hip tossed him. And he grabbed, I think, like a wizard, but he didn't let go of. I don't know what happened.
No, he just threw him over his body, and as he posted his hand, which
You
is
know
how
better
you
than
break
me.
hands, he posted his hand, and then because you can't distribute your weight properly with those kind of underhooks to throw you, and so he had it, and then last minute he threw his arm out to try and prevent getting slammed straight onto his temple because you're turning sideways, so he posts his arm out as he releases from here, and it bent his elbow backwards.
Yeah, right.
And it just blew out his arm. And then the only thing I thought is then the guy come around to kind of punch him in the face. And as he spun around to punch him in the face, he dropped his knee right. All his weight would have dropped right onto his dislocated elbow to punch him in the face. And I was like, after all that, you just blew out your arm. And then this guy just drops his knee right onto your dislocated elbow. It would be the worst. I tell you, fighting. I love to watch it, but God,
just makes
the
me
trauma is
like
awful.
if when I look at these people now, I'll be like, oh, if I land like that, I would break my limb.
any which way you get thrown, I would cry.
Even when someone just like does a normal takedown, like a double leg, I was like, if I posted on that, I'd break my elbow.
Now, you would know this. You do striking, I do grappling. We've dabbled in both on both sides of it.
Grappling is the most disgusting art form of all because you just contort limbs. That's disgusting.
We try and pin you and control you.
No, you don't. You're jiu-jitsu. You try and dismember.
No. I am not Adam Jones. Adam Jones tries to like hurt you because he's a prick. But gotta love the guy. That tall oaf.
Jiu-jitsu, honestly, is about dismemberment. At the end of the day.
No. When I said the choke is king from before, it's not dismemberment.
It's fucking dismemberment.
If I can put you to sleep and then not have to worry about you, I win.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, 500 years ago, you're popping that head off.
Oh, yeah, well, you're choking him to sleep to death. That's what you're doing. If I hold the choke longer than 4 seconds to put you to sleep, if I hold it for about a minute and a half, I kill you.
See, no one's gotten dead from it. Actually, there's been a few.
Well, there's been you can
I'll take that back. I'll take that. You can definitely die.
There's been murder. There has been murders that way. Don't listen to Sav on that. There's definitely numbers on that.
let's revert.
No, it's fine. He didn't mean what he said. But it's not good. You have to know what you're doing and when to let go. If you let go at the right time, there's not an issue. It's just a crazy thought that if you cut off 2 arteries to your brain, it really doesn't take long if you get it. That was another fight. Shane Young, the Fight Pass prelims. Shane Young got strangled. He got taken down, and within a minute he got strangled, and it was on the jaw. I'm sorry, Zab, but it went through his jaw off a grip because he pushed him and punched his own grip through the neck, and then he jaw crushed him
until eventually in a minute.
But eventually his jaw gave up where it slipped under the neck, and then he strangled into sleep, and he starts convulsing and doing all that. Where he literally in under a minute. I mean,
under a minute.
It was. There was some good fights on this fight card.
That was a card to me.
And then the ending
it was a massive. Actually, this is something I wanted to say.
Yeah, you did.
I'm so sick of the UFC disrespecting Australian people.
In what way?
We will pay an exorbitant amount for fights.
Right.
We always watch fights. And you can't bring over fucking 3 international fights. You can't give us a thumbs up. You can't give us regardless of schedule, you can't bring us anything. Like, you can't... The fights tonight were amazing. Shout out to all the fighters. But you can't bring us one international fight. We always fight over there for you. Volkanovski flies all the fucking... way around the world for you. So does Adesanya. So does all these boys. You just can't bring us one international fight as a fucking prelim. At least, like, as a prelim or anything.
You know how much, by watching through it, how much they shuffled the card in the last month
but,
as well.
Like, not even that. Like, why wouldn't you just give us
They try, mate.
Nah, they don't try. They got paid, like, an X amount of millions for this card. They don't care about the numbers.
That's what we have an issue with, because we understand there's also the Sydney Tourism Board paid out a shit ton of money.
Yeah.
So they're going to bring them over. And it's like, well, you didn't compensate us by giving us what you would perceive as like the best and the best. And it was like, well, get some bigger promotion out here. If we're going to pay this much money.
And we're the biggest fight fans.
And you're going to gouge the ticket holders. You say the biggest ticket, but to roll that in, did you see last week, the UFC Paris card? The fucking fans out there at Paris during all the fights?
Yeah, but that's a fight night. I guarantee they didn't have to pay fucking $400 for a fucking bleacher seat.
You don't know.
I don't know.
Over Europe.
I imagine it wasn't.
Could you imagine they do that to everyone in the world, mate?
Oh,
why do you think they make so much money? Why do you think there might be an $8 billion company?
Fair. Fair.
Whatever. Speaking facts.
Whatever. But what I'm saying is, you should not have to pay. I think the minimum cost was $300 almost for the bleachers.
But then you also understand when you buy tickets and they don't want to accept it is when there's scalpers. Like, how much do you really want to fix the industry of buying tickets for these big sporting events?
So when I got tickets to Volkanovski, I fucking had to go through the ringer to get them.
Yeah.
The worst seats were like almost $1,000.
Oh, yeah, you were telling me.
How can you fucking do that to your Australian fans?
Do you think they care on that level?
Well, they should.
Australian fans.
No. I'm not saying they do, but they should.
They have to pervade like they do, but.
And honestly, it's bullshit. I think we deserve better. The card tonight was great. The main card was excellent. The prelims were excellent. Everyone did an excellent job. I just think we deserve some physiques. Or do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just something. Just a couple fights.
No. But, I mean, they did it, again, back to the Paris card, they brought on a bunch of French fighters, so there was like 8 French fighters on this whole card. In Australia now, we have our established, I even said this to the minute, you have mid-card established fighters they can get. Over in Australia,
that's the thing.
Everyone had Jamie, and then with the Anzac tribute between City Kickboxing, it was City Kickboxing in Australia all the way through the card.
They could have called this card Eternal ANZ or Eternal Anzacs.
ANZ.
They could have. They
had a bank over here, mate.
They could have called this card.
Yeah,
fucking
the
Eternal
Anzac card.
Anzacs.
Yeah,
because it was just local Australian fighters.
Yeah.
Yep. And do you know what, Shane Young? You're probably maybe pissing me off even more because I had a massive bet on you.
He's salty on this. Yeah, he's salty. This is why gambling.
He went out like a champ.
Shane is hurting enough.
He went out like a champ.
Without you trying to give him more shtick.
I'm so sorry. You'd beat the fuck out of me. What's the point of even arguing it?
Man, he is. Yeah, he would be hurting.
But
right
you're
now,
better. You're fucking better than that.
He's top level. He's fought the best of the best.
Level.
Man, he went out there and had just a bad
He's
performance.
a great fighter.
He just had a bad spot. He thought he was fighting from Shutterbox though. You see, he had the blonde hair. I was like, what are you thinking? You're Dragon Ball Z? Like you're a Super Saiyan? Are you thinking you're from
Sean DeBronx?
Yeah. What are we doing over here? Shane DeBronx.
Shane DeBronx.
It's you just wonder. But
besides that, what would you rate the card out of 10? I'm gonna go. For the wow factor at the end, 8.8.
I was about to say there was a lot between the fact that when we talk about the greatest upset, this is up there with the greatest upset. I mean, my chest has never been more sore than watching that first round of that main event. I walked off and I was sweating within a minute. That's when I learned. I was like, I'm too committed to this.
You need to rewatch the fight though.
Oh my God.
You need to rewatch the fight because you
I went blinkers. Immediately. All of a sudden,
you thought Izzy was winning.
I just thought Izzy was going to win it the whole way through, and I thought every which way it was going to play out, Izzy would be able to beat him. And it just didn't play out that way.
I honestly can't remember a moment where I've seen Sean cleanly hit. I just can't.
His face. Well, like we said, it was the leg kicks to face strikes to the face strikes to leg kicks from one to the other. Whereas I said this to Seth, what was it, fourth or fifth round? I looked at Strickland and I went, look at his face. He's got nothing wrong with him. There's literally not even looks like there's a contusion on his face.
Nothing.
There's not a graze. There's not a this. You hit him 20 times in the face. You hadn't even grazed his face. And so you wonder about, again, strikes to damage. And
so where does Sean
what
go
happens
from here?
What happens? Like, then who do you immediate rematch? And
they would.
Because
they would have
Izzy
to.
is
Easy money. Yeah, easy.
It shouldn't have played out right this way.
And in America, the rematch in America, huge.
Oh my God.
Huge. Do you know how many fans Strickland just won?
We said this before as well.
Millions.
The US election may have got way more interesting if you get Sean Strickland and Colby Covington just playing the political circuit over there. We want to do a podcast for the whole election, for the American political election, just to be, if they play a part the same way that somehow Sean is going to win. He's going to win him the election.
Sean and Izzy in Vegas is huge. That's huge. Or even in Texas. If they do it in Texas or something, that's huge.
There's a few states where you put them on those rallies, you do that, wherever they go, however the hell that thing works. Why is it I understand that a little better than I don't pay attention to Australian politics? Do they do routes about this? Do they come around the states and check us and be like,
we got to vote.
Give you this?
We got to vote in like a week, don't we?
For the Aboriginal vote in the Senate, in Parliament.
I've been asking everyone I know. I was like, what do I vote?
Is it worth it? Yeah.
I don't. No, you have to.
Is it? No. Is
do
it?
You have to vote?
It's compulsory. It's like a vote, mate. It's a vote. We're a democracy. You have to vote.
Really?
Yeah.
But no, you have to vote about this.
Yeah.
Really?
This is a thing.
Or how much is
every voice? I don't know. Well, you know one asked about fines.
I don't know enough.
Well, I would just say go down and do it, and whether or not it's yes or no, do you really think about? They're going to take our tax money anyway, mate. It's going to go.
That's what I think.
And dispersed about in some way.
How else do you think it's going to go? All these things. There's a really, really, really rich white person at the back of it that's going to make money. So who cares?
We can't start conspiratorial all the way around and be like, well, it's only a few people that fucking
it's true.
Get it at the end of the day.
It's true, though. At the end of all of these, these votes.
Look, Sav, here's what I asked you. And
that's not me. I don't know shit about it. Do you know why?
That was the start of the podcast, that bird right there.
I don't look at the news. I had to ask my missus if it was compulsory the other day because someone said to me that I should vote this way.
Right.
And I was like,
where'd you run
at the shop.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I was at the shop and this person's like, oh, don't forget to vote. You should vote this way. And I was like, what vote? because I don't
keep up with it. Well, we talked about this on our last podcast, mate. It was like radio to and television and TV to the internet and podcasting and like the apps where all of a sudden you can watch and our attention can be taken in so many fucking different directions.
It's obviously such a serious thing that you should have to vote.
Okay. Oh,
you know what I mean?
I don't even know where to go with it because it's so far. Because at the end of the day, I would go down. We live in a democracy. We have a right to vote.
Well, you don't live in a democracy if you have to vote.
Here's where. Well, again, there's
if we live in a democracy, we don't have to vote because that's the democracy.
We don't live in a perfect democracy, mate. What was one of those questions you asked? How much can I get fined if I don't go vote?
Yeah,
you can take your vote.
Willing.
You can take your vote as serious as what you want.
They're gonna charge you.
What's the monetary value that you'd be willing to give up that you don't give a fuck about?
150.
$150?
If
how
I
much do you
didn't
get
have
for
to
a
vote,
parking fine? How much do you get for a speeding fine? How much do you get to run a red light? How much do you get to using your phone in the car? How much do you get to this? We willingly engage with a world that we're understanding that if we don't do things by what we are told to do, we are going to pay a price for it. How much are you willing to give up all the way through until the nth degree, the reductio ad absurdum, to the point of absurdity? Do you get that you really care about your vote and what you have to say before people throw you in prison, wrap you up in chains, wrap you up in handcuffs, take your choice away from you, where when you had the choice, it was one thing. When you don't have the choice, it's a totally different thing.
I reckon.
How far on that sliding scale are you willing to go?
$63. Bro, I don't give a fuck.
I don't give a
fuck. Do you know why? Because Sean Strickland's the fucking UFC middleweight champion.
You stop it. Look, I gotta piss, man. I gotta go so bad.
Like we were in there.
We're in the weeds on
me and Tom are trying to figure out where we were before we paused the podcast.
We paused because I really had to go for a whiz because we watched the fights. This was one where I asked Sav, will we do a live companion, which is one thing, or will I come around, we'll watch the fights together. As a man that used to love the fights watching at the pubs pre-COVID, that's what we used to do, right? We spoke about this when I came in. We used to love going to the pubs and watch the fights and whenever you could do it. It's like COVID killed that for a few years. And then fight fans, you just watch the fights by yourself and you can get UFC Fight Pass and get pay-per-views.
I'm not gonna lie. If I was at the fights just then, I would have started a fire.
Dude, it was. I still can't get over the first round when you went dead silent and I'm literally yelling at the screens going, fuck off, fuck off, fuck off. And Jacob's sitting here and I only thought about that afterwards. He's looking at both of our reactions and he's just going, holy, but this is just something else to be viewing right now.
That was
a hell of a moment. And everyone has those moments now.
I'm still like processing it. Is that a big win? Like,
what do you mean?
That's one of the
biggest.
That's one of the biggest.
The biggest.
It has to be.
Dude.
It has to be.
Sean Strickland.
Has to be.
Absolutely. Didn't outclass Adesanya, but outworked him, out-hustled him.
He beat him.
He beat him.
He
beat him.
He
didn't
made
Adesanya not want to be there for that night. He went, no, I don't want to borrow this.
I would love to see Israel's mentality right now.
We're going to see. You say you get all the post-fights the next week or two? Is he going to do interviews?
He'll put up a front, but he knows. He knows that he didn't try hard enough. That's at the end of the day. The fight was based on he did not take one forward step.
I think he knew he wasn't going to take a forward step, but my thing is,
if
you're going to get pressure put on you, you have to hurt the other guy to deter him from actually pressing forward into you.
Not a mark.
And Izzy literally didn't hurt him at all.
Not a mark.
The leg kicks were one thing, but it seems like Strickland could fight next week.
He could fight fucking next week.
Yeah, which is not good when you say everything I thought bad about Sean Strickland going in against Izzy. It was be like, you're going to get outclassed. There's no way you'd be able to then fight the next week. It just went 100% right for Strickland and almost like 5% right for Izzy. There was nothing that Izzy actually presented. For all the problems he could have presented, he presented none.
It
was just, and that's what made it hard to watch. I was like, you have all these tricks in the book, but the tricks in the book don't work. I think about this with jiu-jitsu as well. You can have all the playbook. You can have all the moves in your mind. If you don't pull the trigger on any of them, you're not doing shit, are you?
Draker's, what's he do now?
They're going to do Draker. Oh, it'll be either the rematch, direct, win it, and then it's still the same.
It'll be Izzy Shawn next.
They'll do that. No. Izzy what?
Well, it'll be Izzy Shawn next.
Yeah,
for the rematch.
Yeah, because they need Izzy to be the champ.
But
they don't like the fact that Strickland's the champ. 100%.
Dynamite, because it's money. That's money.
I don't think the overreaching company might agree.
You think I'm buying a Adesanya top? Tomorrow, when you leave my house right now, I'm buying every single piece of Sean Strickland merch I can find.
That new shirt he released just before the fights he was wearing a new shirt. I was like, those things are gonna sell out. He better make sure his stock is filled. People are coming from all over the planet for that now.
Do you remember that meme I shared on my story of Sean Strickland when Sean Strickland wins the UFC middleweight championship? And then
is this the Rocky?
17 racial slurs.
And it was Rocky running down the road. Yeah. And that's the one I shared as well. Now, we can roll that because what about a few of the language, the bit of the language that we used by Manil Karp, and then earlier in the evening, it was also
Manil has to be the next.
The next flyweight guy.
Has Cody, actually, random question, has Cody Garbrandt fought in his bare knuckle fight yet?
No.
Did you watch yesterday, Gamebreds?
Yes.
JDS?
JDS Verdum's eye.
Fucked him up,
his eye. Oh, the worst cut over your eyelid. Could you imagine, as a human being, you get a giant gash over your eyelid.
One of the worst.
And then you not only have to live with that for a little while, you have to keep fighting with it and be like,
JDS,
am I going to lose my eyeball? Am I going to lose my eyeball?
He beat the shit out of him.
Dude, that cut. So you've got that. That was, I saw that photo. It kept showing up this morning when I was watching the prelims on the drive here. And it was the Verdum, like the X, not Twitter anymore, formerly known as Twitter. The X in the Instagram was the sharing of Verdum's eye. I mean, his eye's hanging off. He had the worst cut on his eyelid. And just the thought of having a cut like that on your eyelid, that is awful. Mm-hmm. And just living after that. So you get through the fight, but then it's I have a giant gash on my eyelid. I can't open or close my eye.
Is Gamebred Masvidal's? Is that
it's MMA.
Bare knuckle MMA?
Bare knuckle MMA.
That's gross.
That's crazy.
That's gross.
They're doing their own kind of shit, Pride style.
Do they plaster their fucking hands up though in wraps?
I don't know. You get some margarito shit.
That bare knuckle, they say it's bare knuckle, but they strap their hands to the point that it's plaster. Yeah. So it's worse.
Well, it's no. Here's what. If you wrap your hands enough, where the issue where it's plaster is if you soak it in actually a plaster wrap, which is boxers have done that, and then they put the glove over the top of it,
and paper mache,
and it's paper mache. So that's a very bad aspect of the sport where people are like, no, I want to cause damage.
Bare knuckle, they wrap
their hands. I don't think they would. There's no way you could get away with dipping it in shit to give you more damage.
Wrapping your hands is probably worse.
Wrapping your hands is important because it's supposed to protect the knuckles and the wrist, right? It's your wrist, but
you can punch harder than normal.
Exactly right. You're punching each other in the head. So how much do you want to protect your hands? What do you think gloves do, mate? Gloves into the wrap.
If any of these listeners go out, and I don't recommend this, but you just punch someone in the head as hard as you can.
In the forehead, go for it. You'll break your hand. Probably every bone in your hand.
You're going to break every single fucking bone in your hand.
Go punch someone right in the forehead.
But these paper mache things, they do the same damage as a bare knuckle, but they stop your hand from breaking as much.
Yeah.
Your hand's still going to break in a bare knuckle fight. Like, I think Mike Perry's his fucking hands would be horrible.
But that's the thought. You get obliterated. But meanwhile, what a
How
guy.
good's Mike Perry?
What a guy that
How
turned his
good?
career. Man, you looked at him. What a guy that turned his career around to go MMA. Oh, I tried this. I tried that. I love to hit people in the face. I'm not the best. This bare knuckle boxing. I found my
He's
spot.
the boy.
Dude.
He's the one.
Make it. He is the one. He is the Anakin Skywalker.
Is he fighting Darren Till?
Supposed to be. Ooh. That is the rumored
He didn't
mill.
knock him out.
In bare knuckle?
Yeah, I think Mike Perry's found his niche.
Yeah, because also Till can't kick.
Yeah, exactly.
Which means I think Mike Perry would 100% be the favourite.
According to his last 5 fights, he can't fight either. So
jeez. Darren Till, he had a strong fall from grace. It was he looked good for a first few.
He had fucking 2 fights and he fought Tyron Woodley.
Nah, because he TKO'd Cowboy. That's what made him.
Max 4 fights.
I think he won. I think he won 2 or 3, and then he fought Cowboy, which was either 3 or 4.
In the UFC.
Yeah, and then it was 3 or 4, and then he fought for the title. No, yeah, and then he decisioned Wonderboy Thompson, which gave him his 4th or 5th win in the UFC, and then he fought for the title, and then Woodley dust choked him, which is, as a man that loves a good dust choke, I can appreciate some jiu-jitsu. And then I think on that, if I remember correctly, Tyron Woodley got his black belt off strangling someone in MMA.
Darren the Gorilla Till. Loss, win. Loss, win.
The last one was Gastelum, right? And Gastelum at a split decision.
Wait up, we'll go back. 2015, he beat Costa da Silva. Bonale Marquez. Who was his first notable win?
Go up to the UFC.
He beat Donald Cerrone in 2017.
That's what I said. Cerrone was his big one. Then he fought Thompson. 1 or 2 after that, and then he won by unanimous because he dropped him in the last round, I think, of a 3-round fight. And then he fought for the title, did he not? And then he got strangled by Woodley.
Yeah. So he fought Thompson, then fought Woodley, then fought Masvidal, and he got knocked out.
Got KO'd in the second.
Then
there in London.
Then he fought Gastelum.
Yeah.
Whitaker.
And he got beat by Whitaker. Yep.
Brunson beat.
Then he got beat by Brunson.
Duplessis beat. He doesn't have a horrible record.
That's what I'm saying. You want to talk all this, man. And it's like, look at it when they fight those guys.
Yeah, when you look at that, he got pumped up.
Because also
he
Sharp talked about this way back, man. How much you send them to the wolves early when you're making from the pro debut, the lower leagues, how you get fed, and then not everyone's a Hamzat Chimaev, mate. Not everyone is a who else?
Yeah,
insert
an exceptional.
Insert a name that could have 1 or 2 fights, and they're like, this guy should be fighting for a title. And then when the commentators actually say it on the broadcast as well, there's a few of them like Hamzat, where within the first 2 or 3 fights, they're like, oh, this guy's...
He's a guy.
The skills that this guy has is nuts. Like, they were saying that about John Jones, and he lived up to it. They were saying that about Izzy. It was like, he lived up to it, and then Izzy...
Oh, not tonight.
Well, but I tell you, you want to talk about a bring back for that? It just hurts my feelings that Sav was so confident, and it actually come through. That Sean Strickland beat Israel Adesanya in an MMA fight.
I would love to know how much Sean Strickland was paying for a decision.
For a decision? Dude. What do you reckon? 16 to 1?
It'd have to be more.
No, I would think 16 to 20. 16 to 20
16 still crazy.
I know, that's what. 16 to 1? You put $1, you win $16?
What do you reckon Sean's doing right now?
Please, dick.
He's in his hotel room.
Dude, he's going to get fellatiated by someone.
Whether it be a bloke or a woman, I don't know.
Whatever your temperament may be, but boy, that guy.
All you Sydney Labos, watch out.
Dude, think of all the Sean Strickland content for the next... Until he loses the belt. We have Sean Strickland content now. Like... He's the champ.
Imagine.
It's all his content, mate. He's the man.
Imagine Sean goes to Bankstown.
Just nuts.
I don't It's the craziest sport in the world.
And that's what makes it so stupid. There's no way an elite. It's elite versus not a dilettante. And the dilettante beat the elite.
This will get more news than
You'd hope. I'm very interested to see what the MMA media. Is there a crossover further? Does it hit a mainstream media at all?
no one gave him a chance.
No one gave him a chance at all. This is top 3 upsets, and it is. They didn't want to do it, and Izzy was like, "I'm gonna get this guy. Like, don't worry about it." And everyone in the know was like, "There's no way Strickland can outpoint him, outstrike him, hit him, hurt him, No one thought it was gonna happen, and it fucking happened.
Yeah,
which is what makes this sport stupid.
Yeah, exactly what you said. It's like, it's the best sport in the world.
Because you think you should know how it plays out, but it's these spanners are thrown in the work, and it seems like more of a common occurrence because it's like if. You know, this skill against this skill, and the way I play, it's like that should never happen.
This to me was more shocking than the Pentagon's court cases of the UFOs.
Bigger,
yeah.
Well, books have been released. Things are coming out. UAPs,
they call them.
UAPs, the UFOs. David Grush,
Fravor,
Ryan Griggs.
And people were still like, I remember when that happened, when the official thing was getting streamed. I went to work and I was like, "Mum, there's aliens." She's like, "Okay." I was like, "What are you talking?" She's like, "There's no aliens." I was like, "Mum, there's fucking aliens."
Here's what's hard about this. When you think, and this is what they've said, right? When you think there's another intelligence from another planet, how much can they let... You think you want to let the world know that there's actually...
Dribs and drabs.
There's actually aliens that exist.
He could
how
only...
crazy are people going to go if
how
you
many
go,
times did he
aliens?
say... How many times did he say, "I can't talk about that"?
Non-biological entities.
Yeah.
Yep, I can't talk about this. I can take you to a skiv. What's it called? Where they put them into a little closed-off area. No communications can come in. Not a skiv, because a skiv's a skipping. A skid. What is it called? I think it's a skid. It's an enclosed thing where nothing comes in. And so you can talk about things without anything penetrating, and you can talk about things. Because what was it that put down the mafia? Wiretaps. What was it that they knew would actually catch on to people? Wiretaps. You hear about what people talk about, you're going to get to the bottom of shit. If you can be privy to the conversations of these little inner communities and how they converse with each other, if you can tap into that and hear what they speak about.
It's fucking wild that people still don't freak out about it.
Because what we have now is we're so in tune with it is because our phones are literally tapped into us all the time.
But we're just... slightly assimilated to it.
We're used to it.
A little bit.
We're a little bit used to, like, I know you're getting viewed, but man, what do you think put the mafia down? Like, it's like you can't do the same things as what you did back in the 70s and the 80s. There's too much the information technology and the camera technology and everything, and how much everything is viewed right now. You don't do it the same way. So you find your niche to fit in, to actually still try and make your money in whatever way you try and do it.
We have one of the biggest cases ever in Australia.
With what?
UFOs.
Which one?
There was one... Oh, I'm going to butcher the dates.
Oh, yeah.
I'll butcher the dates. But there was a whole school. There was like 100+ people that seen the same thing. It hovered over a school, a UAP, and then it shot up and took off in like the 80s or 90s. And there's YouTube videos of not of the picture, but there's YouTube videos of people recounting it. Everyone had the same account of it.
Yep.
And it was in like rural Melbourne, rural Victoria, or something.
Yeah.
But it's like, fuck.
Just whether or not you think, how much do you really think we do it? What's our grand design and our plan? We create technology and we want to send it into the atmosphere. We want to send it to outer space. What do we want to do? We want to probe the furthest reaches of space and time as we understand it, because space and time is something we think we've come to understand by speed of light and physics and modern physics the way we do. We understand quantum electrodynamics. Sure, we think we can figure out and make the world. But then to create a technology off of that to then send out, we have probes that have been out there now for 30 to 40 years. They've gone outside the solar system. We have a rover bloody thing that's out there. It's in the not in the Kuiper Belt. What's it bloody called? It's further than the Kuiper Belt. The Kuiper Belt's in between Saturn and Jupiter. It's a giant asteroid field. You ever thought about we live in that's the biggest fear, we get hit by asteroids. We have an asteroid belt that just circles us all the time. It's whether or not something deflects it into us to actually go.
How much realistically would you pay to go to space? Realistically. If it was a Qantas flight.
I don't make money, mate, to think about millions to pay to go into space.
No, I'm not talking millions. I'm saying how much realistically would you be willing to pay to go to deep space?
Deep space?
I'm talking it takes you 2 months.
I don't want to go. I don't want to.
100% guarantee you're going to come home.
Okay, here's what I say. I don't want to go into deep space.
10 grand.
There's nothing. There's nothing out in deep space that I actually want to see. The whole thing about traveling through space is to get to your destiny, because deep space will kill you. I don't want to go see the middle of nothing, because nothing out in the world kills humans. Humans were meant to live on a planet that induces our life form.
But
You go outside of that, we build a technology, and if that technology breaks, fuck that. It's the worst death you could possibly.
So you wouldn't pay 5 grand to go to space?
No, I wouldn't pay.
All right, here you go. Here's how I know you got that tism. How much would you pay to go to a real Jurassic Park island?
On to see dinosaurs and
Like real ones. 100% guaranteed nothing's going to kill you.
yeah. Oh well, yeah, you hope that goes better for you.
You're going to a little Costa Rican island.
Imagine getting eaten by a dinosaur.
You're going to a Costa Rican island.
I don't want to get eaten by a
How
dinosaur.
much were you paying? You paying
I'd pay
5
money.
grand return?
I'd pay some money to go
5
see a
grand
dinosaur.
return?
I'd go pay money to go see a dinosaur more than it would be to go see space. Because space, when I realised it's like stars are pretty. You get outside the atmosphere, it's pretty. But once you get outside of there, it's killing you because you can't breathe. Because atmosphere is important. We actually have to breathe oxygen. And if that system doesn't work properly, that
It's
we
like
have
Craig
built.
Jones just on your back.
Nah, no way to get this guy off me. He's going to strangle me regardless.
The
You can
10th round.
Do whatever you want.
You gas down round 5.
Yeah, do whatever you want. Yeah, something about I don't want to that Martian movie. You can keep that. I don't want to be going to Mars, man.
Do you know what's funny about that Martian movie? That I've never admitted.
What's that?
I was there. So,
Where?
I went to the
Where
movie.
is there?
I went to the movie The Martian. Was that the one with
Matt Damon.
Matt Damon?
Yep. Goes to Mars, grows his potatoes.
And I looked at my missus and I was like, is this a true story? Because I was heaps high. And I looked at her and I was
don't know,
like,
baby.
so I thought this was a biography, like a
It's an autobiography. This is based on a true story.
And I was like, fuck, this bloke like cultivated food on Mars. That's wild.
Mate, you know there's a genre of books called sci-fi novels. It's called The Potential of What Could Happen.
I didn't know. I honestly thought, man, this motherfucker just cultivated Mars. But that's going to be Elon.
Could be Elon. That's where he's looking for. You know what's weird is I never forget is when I heard
Are they
about...
giving grants out for the first people that go there? I hope so.
Probably not. I mean, there's money getting thrown out there for breaking endeavours and breaking understanding of technology. There's actually big money. Like X Prize foundations. Well, because it's like pushing technology forward, like above and beyond everything. That's what they're hoping for. That's what we're constantly looking for. They want to send us to the stars. That's some dream that we all have. That
But what's up there?
Nothing.
Who cares?
A lot of planets.
But who gives a
By a
fuck?
lot of planets, there's like 9 within our solar system.
If
10 if
you-
you include Pluto.
If you think your legacy is going to explain the human race and why we're here, you are so fucking in love with yourself. Like,
Okay.
it's so vast.
Yeah. 100%.
Oh no, Tom's
no.
figured it out.
No. Keep going. I have
It's so vast.
I have a whiteboard at home. I like post-it notes. I like quotes. Right? You don't understand this about me. There's one I wrote on my whiteboard. I wrote on my whiteboard, and it's literally by a physicist about understanding the hubris of trying to understand and understanding human knowledge. The fact that we think we can know everything is a very good thing. The fact that we want to know everything is also a good thing. The fact that we think we can actually get to understanding everything is hubris. I don't even have to pull out the quote because that's essentially it.
No shit.
That's like, you want to know everything. You think you should know everything, but the thing you think you'll actually get to the nth degree is the worst thing.
That's like all these people that are like, oh, we got to get to Mars and we got to
They
get
want to
here.
push technology forward, but
Yeah,
it's
but-
like, what level are we trying to get to? Why are we trying to get
It's
to
rudimentary because we're gonna fucking kill ourselves anyway.
Well, what is it that all that
We're
technology...
never gonna get to that point where we can save ourselves, ever.
You don't think?
No, we're fucking ruined.
Save ourselves
we
from what?
we
Save
rape this earth.
We do that.
We
definitely do that.
absolutely fucking molest this earth.
But here's what we do. While we molest this earth, we actually understand ways to try and molest this earth even worse.
Oh no, but everyone,
that sounds awful.
there's all these lawyers for this and that. And there's supposed to be, I don't know the exact terms of them, but there's supposed to be these lawyers for the earth.
Environmental lawyers.
They're not doing a good job because they have an agenda.
But here's the
because
issue.
they've been sold.
But here's
It's
the
not.
issue.
It's not
No,
a true
no.
agenda though.
So
It's sold. They've been sold.
Who is trying to get on the positive aspect of being a lawyer in the court of law against all the money that comes in from the corporations that are actually raping and pillaging
That's
the
the
earth?
thing.
That's the
There's
thing.
too much money.
There's too much money from the people that are trying to take from it instead of the people that are trying to invest in it and be like, no, we need this for the future. I just bought. Let me go off and there's a.
Continue.
So I just bought a. I went shopping with the missus yesterday. We went into town. We like our town days. I go buy books. I like book shopping in Adelaide. It's fun. You go to see all the bookstores. It's very nice for me. I bought a book. I'd read about it. It's called Sophie's World, and it's a fictional book written back. It's just had its 20th year edition released, and it's a teen intro into philosophical ideas. And then on the 20th edition, on the intro, she talks about if there was one thing you could change, they said to the author, if there was one thing you could change, what would you change from the book, the way it's written now, which sold over 40 million copies, transcribed into 30 plus languages. This book made it massive for a philosophical fictional tract, which actually was aimed at like teens and early 20s for like why we should live. What does that mean? What does it mean to exist? All these fun things. So I went into that and I went, oh, she didn't mention the global catastrophe and climate change and all these other things. The purpose for your future generations to think of, we live on this planet, but if you burn and fuck it up, where do we go from here? And it's weird to think on a philosophical tangent, to think that way is like, you can think all high and minded, but if you ruin the atmosphere and the environment that we live in, then nothing exists here and we all disappear. So why does it matter if you also think, if you go to another way and you go, we have one life, we have one existence. Does it happen over and over again? No. What do? We have kids. We put our kids on to the next generation. We have generation after generation after generation. If you don't hold that on and we burn the planet where it actually exists for the next generation, and how quickly would that happen where it's fucking noticeable, where what's written about is it goes from this generation to 3 generations from now, you absolutely burnt up everything we had because everyone was making money, everyone was trying to figure this out, everyone was trying to do it, and the live and let live and the population that we live with and everything else that we go on with is more important to keep going on with that. And if we burn it as we go, that's what we do. And it seems to be that's just where we go. As long as we can keep this ride going, who's going to step in? And that's where it gets to political, to business, to everything else. It gets into a much larger argument than what me and you and I could ever talk about.
Is that then you have to, when you think of it like that, you also have to think that everything's predetermined.
A little bit.
Like,
there's the way the world goes. There's the way the world goes.
This is what it is.
This is
and
what
do you
it
know
is.
what? It probably is. This is how it is.
Predeterminism, mate. It's a real thing.
Every single thing me and Tom are saying now has happened a million times in a million different ways.
Potentially. That is the idea. That is the idea of infinity.
Like, who's to say that this didn't happen a million years ago? That we just don't have a recount of it because our race fucked up and just wiped everything away.
Maybe.
There's heaps of evidence to say that there was not as advanced, but there was advanced civilizations fucking millions of years ago.
All they argue about is there's definitely advanced. What do you deem advanced? There's definitely smart species that have lived before us. What do you deem as advanced?
People that can use an iPhone.
Yep.
No,
it's not the same thing. Yeah,
when you've been to Europe.
Yeah.
Have you seen those fucking monasteries and shit?
Yeah. That's what they spent their time doing. Like, I'm giving this to God. I can build this absolute.
Give that to a bricklayer now. Give it.
Good
honestly,
luck.
If you go to
build the pyramids. If you build the pyramids now, they still can't do it.
If you go to a lot of places in fucking, especially Europe or wherever you go,
much more history.
Even I just went to Japan.
Yeah.
You go there, and you see these temples these people build, and you're like, "There's not a person alive today that could do that."
Yeah.
There's not one.
Yeah. The skill level to build something that'll sit around for, something I've heard is the Long Now Foundation, which is something that lives longer than 10,000 years. And 10,000 years to us is massive, but 10,000 years to the time of the universe is nothing.
Nothing.
So the idea of how do you want to live on? Because what do we have before? What's the time stamps of human history? And it gets quite quick. When it gets later on, it's like we're circling the drain. It's like more shit happens the further we get through it. But if you go further back, it's like longer time scales. It's like not a lot happened for a giant period of time. But yet all of a sudden things start happening rapidly when you put mind and intelligence onto it.
Here's one. What year would you go back to?
Oh, I would love to see... Oh, this is old. I'd love to see the dawn of Egypt. Like the Egypt higher kingdoms, like when they were building the pyramids, and whether that was
you want to say
whether that was 4,000 years ago or 14,000 years ago. Imagine if they built the pyramids 14,000 years ago instead of 4,000 years ago. It seems like nothing in the scape of it doesn't take that long. It's massive. To build, to come together, to put all the people, to build up something that is that high and to build a structure that high through stone and then build it in limestone and then it's encrusted where it looks like a golden tablet from thousands of miles outside of Egypt. Why the fuck would you want to build something like that? Why would you build Göbekli Tepe? Why would you build something that feels it transcends your puny human life, is what they say when you look at as an individual human mind. It's like you're one part in this one small thing. You all want to work together to build something that actually transcends time and existence to a self-perceived God and higher being than what you actually live and understand in. We know we live in the world that we do, but why on earth would you work towards something to build something of that high worth and value that very possible. Very possible. Fear of what this guy would do to you.
People think poverty's bad now. Imagine poverty in fucking...
Back then? God damn it. Oh, could you imagine? Just kings being like,
I'll
kill you and I'll kill all the millions that come in.
I'd go back to Jesus' times. I'd want to see whatever.
You want to be in Jerusalem at zero?
I want to be in Jerusalem at zero. I want to see... Because, do you know what? That's what separates the whole world.
There's a few.
Over little tales that a lot of people made up.
Yeah.
And that is why a majority of the people die in the world. Because of...
religion.
Because of a lot of shit that a lot of people made up.
Yep.
Because someone floated in the sky and came back from the dead.
Now,
Who gives a fuck?
Here's why I get interested in all those ideas. So I would say that the ancient Greeks influenced the ancient Romans. The ancient Romans were heavily influenced, and Western democracy got passed through ancient Greece into ancient Rome, and then Christianity and Catholicism got passed through Jerusalem into ancient Rome. And so these Western ideals have come up with Western democracy, and all these is Western Christianity, Catholicism, all these ideas, right? This is what, and it's been around for 2,500 years. Because you go back to ancient Greece and you say these little tribal islands was like, no, give people the vote, give the say to the populace. But then you know who the Athenians, who had all the vote, they held up the highest regard, were the Spartans, who had a state run essentially by an oligarchy, who were like, we're going to build up warriors and we're going to go and just kill you as quick and efficiently as possible. And why do you still hold up? But people love the Spartans. They were a warrior culture. You know what a democracy is? It's not a warrior culture. It's like the total opposite. And so the differentiation of Western democracy to an oligarchy is literally set in Athens versus Sparta. It's set through the state to run what the society says you should do. We're going to build warriors to kill you. To, no, give the vote to the people, and I think we can build things up, and you get art, literature, democracy, write things down. We can progress into the future. We can build up better things. You have the Temple of Delphi. You have all these different things that are held up to the highest regard. Is the opposite of what we just watch here, which is fighting. People think they have to take things through fighting. It's been held on through as long as the human history's been around.
At the end of the day, the whole problem with not even generation, our species, is we all have a very massive tendency to go towards fucking gluttony.
Gluttony?
We all love, not even gluttony, like greed.
Yep.
Greed.
Yep.
We're all greedy.
You know
Everyone.
that's
every person that sees this and they're like, oh, I'm not a greedy person. Win a fucking $50 million lotto and tell me how many people you help.
Exactly right. So you don't think
because
you would
I know, me personally,
right.
If I win $50 fucking million, I am not giving a cent to charity.
Yep.
Not a cent. And that's me being serious, dead serious. I'm helping my family, and then the rest of yous aren't seeing me ever again. Do you know what I'm saying?
Nepotism at its
we
finest.
we all have that greed in us.
We do.
Or wanting to be better.
Okay.
And some just admit it better than others. That's the end of it.
You just said it. Some admit it better than others. We all will want to take and we all think we hold ourselves up to the highest regard. And when you actually play it out in the world, if things happen, if you win $50 million, how would you actually act with it? Of course not. You'd have a grand old time. You'd help your family.
Are you giving
the charity
$10 million to charity? You don't need $50 million.
It's also what you said. $50 million would be like the world wealth a few hundred years ago. $50 million in this day and age, mate.
It's a lot.
It's a lot, but you're not mid-tier.
It's not generational wealth.
That thing, generational wealth.
That's not generational
Kevin Hart
wealth.
talks about generational wealth, where he's like, I want my kids to be looked after. They don't have to work whatever they want.
Generational wealth is your family line of fine.
Yeah.
50 million ain't gonna do that. If you're a dickhead.
If you have one.
If you're a fucking degenerate, 50 million is not gonna do that.
No, it's not. But
it might last too.
Do you have names in your head that when you think of generational wealth?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. The Rockefellers, Rothschilds. Yeah.
Even you can fucking, what would be a really common one? Drake would have. Drake. Oh,
Eminem. Dr. Dre.
No.
The money they would make. Their kids would have to
that's
work,
another
but...
question. What's generational wealth? 500 plus?
Mate, 500
or
Sir,
250
we
plus.
think about how much money you spend on a day-to-day generational world. We think about on a scale
We don't
where it's like,
catch
because
private
we
planes.
make, if you
We
make,
don't- we don't catch private
if we
planes.
make 70,000 a year, we're living comfortably. If you're talking about a bloke that makes, he sells his business for 400 million to sell his fucking Beats by
Dana
Dre.
White. Dana White.
Dana
has
White,
general
his
wealth.
generational wealth. His kid doesn't have to box, but his kid still boxes.
Floyd Mayweather.
Floyd Mayweather, his kids don't have to fight, but he still does exhibition fights, so what the fuck's up with that? So he still wants to make money. It's like he can't stop. It's like, what the hell's wrong with you, man?
All I'm saying is, if I win, I remember when was it? There was it was recently. There was like 100 million, 110 million lotto,
Yeah.
and I bought a ticket, and my cousin's like, "Oh, if you win that, are you gonna give me any?" And I was like, "Fuck no."
Don't we all ask that? Don't we all ask that as our families?
No.
It's like our highest regard is if you win this, you're gonna give
Fuck
me.
no.
I still look at my brother, man. I'm like, hey, man, if I honestly, I would look at him and be like, he wins a $10,000 sports bet.
Fuck no.
I would be like, hey, man,
100.
He would happily shout me.
That's different. See, that's different.
That's all I would ask for, which would be the difference on personality traits. Be like,
No.
what would you ask for from people? Because people they become real fucking weird with their
that's
family.
different.
Be like, gay, you win 50 million,
If
I
I-
want $1 million. You're like, fuck off, mate. A million.
If I won 50 million, I would give my brother. Sorry, Jamie. if I won 50 million, I would give my brother 2.5 million.
That's fucking not bad.
2.5.
That's not bad.
I would pay off his house,
Yeah.
and I would give my niece $1 million in the bank,
Yeah.
and I would give him the rest.
I don't think that's bad at all.
But I would make an agreement that she couldn't touch the money until she was 30.
That's where it becomes weird. Where it's like, you got to make contracts for people. Where it's
30.
like,
Well, people get stupid with money.
I know.
If someone just gave me $1 million, I'd be a fucking idiot.
Could you imagine?
Me with $1 million?
What about $1 million?
I'll be on a farm right now shooting shit.
What about $1 million at 18 years old?
$1 million at 18. Give me $1 million at 18. Oh my god, give me
You're
$300 at 18. I'll
you're
give you a
dead.
good night.
You're
What are you
dead. You're
talking about?
dead. You are dead.
If someone gave me fucking $1,000 at 18, I will give you the best night of your life.
Mate. Yeah, it gets to a certain point where it's like money you make, it can get dangerous if you can't funnel it into like, I could use this money for a benefit for me and not just.
All right, here we go.
I can
Here we
have
go.
the
Here we
best
go.
time.
You win $10 million. Mm-hmm. How many siblings do you have?
I have a brother and a sister.
How much of that 10 million are they getting?
I might give them $1 million each, I reckon.
Millie?
Yeah.
So you'd give them 20%.
I think so, yeah.
Okay.
And then, yeah.
Where does the
because-
rest go? Give me the breakdown.
The rest would
You
go.
got 8 million left.
Yeah. Yeah, it would be you'd buy some properties, you'd funnel it over between. I'd immediately go to see someone that had financial understanding, and there would be multiple aspects to be like, no, I need to understand where I roll this over because I know that buckets with money is a very important thing. So it'd be roll it over into many buckets, don't load it all up. But man, once you win that kind of money, you're fucking set. Like you can you don't really have to go do that much more if you've got that much money, and
Fuck,
as long as you're smart enough with it.
I'm trying to turn it into fucking 10 billion, cunt.
See, no, you are asking for too much, sir. You just said you want to look after people that love you. You want to come and help the people around
That's
you.
with 50 million. If I only win 10 million, I'm telling you, I'm fucking buying 2 houses. I'm putting fucking 2 million on fucking Bitcoin, and I'm running the rest of the casino.
I'm gonna rinse myself absolutely as a gambler. That's why I need to have a very tempered understanding of like, if I came into money, do not get any idea.
How would you tell your missus?
What about what? That I won that much money?
Say today you put on a bet,
Right.
and the multi was paying $1 million, and you hit it. Who are you ringing first?
It'd be my brother first. The missus would be second. The rest of the family. There's a family group chat. That would be third.
How do you reckon your missus' conversation would go?
We're pretty good, babe. Hey, don't worry about the next few years. I got us sorted.
What are you doing Monday? Working? No, you're not.
At the moment, my car is broken down, so I would be calling the boss and be like, "Hey, man, you know that tow you want to get for the car? Don't worry about me coming in, man. I just want a mill on the UFC fight." So thank you for giving me that opportunity.
A million almost is more of a burden than it is a blessing.
You would think that because if people hear that you got $1 million, they will come asking.
Exactly.
What you're going to distribute out to people to come asking, it's fucking nuts.
Once I pay my house off, if I say I won $1 million, I always say, if a prize pool was 20 million and I won $1 million, I would be mortified. Because as a gambler, you always think of what could have been.
Yeah.
But if I won $1 million, I'd have to give my siblings at least 100,000.
See, and you were what did you just say, mate? You got $1 million, or you got $1 million, and you gave like 100,000.
So you give 100,000.
What is it about rounding off to percentages? Because if I win 50 million and I give a few million to my siblings, that's what it is. It's like you round it up to make sure everyone's looked after.
Say I win $1 million, I got to give my brother and sister 100. I would have to give my nieces at least 50 each. So that's 150. So that's 350. So it leaves me with 650.
Yeah.
I pay my house off. That leaves me with 500 cash.
Right. What would you do with 500 cash?
500 cash.
So you got 500 cash.
I got 500 cash.
What is the first thing that you do with 500 cash?
Selling this house.
Right.
I got 1.1.
Mm-hmm.
I'm selling this house. I got 1.1 million cash.
Okay. All right. What are we doing?
I'm buying.
Where are we going?
13 acres in Mount Compass.
Okay.
I'm in debt 100 grand.
Okay. Easy.
I take out the loan and I buy a Land Cruiser.
Okay.
That's it.
What do you mean that's it? What do you mean that's it, mate? You got all the money in the world. What do you mean that's it?
That's it. That's where the story ends.
That's it.
Oh, bro, I got Land Cruiser and 13 acres. What do you mean? I'm starting a cult.
That's what I'm saying. You're looked after. If you've got that kind of money, which is why you worry about other people with so much money.
Now that I said that, $1 million, you can do well.
$1 million, you'll be fine.
Not fine. You have to work.
Of course you have to work. Look, I work with...
You have to work with $1 million.
You think about the level that you work to. Like, I work with a roofing company.
You get a part-time job if you've got $1 million.
I think about the millions of dollars that get passed through certain companies and the millions that go through it compared to suppliers to pay for this, to do that. How much do you see in return? If you're a guy that makes... You've got 300,000 profit every year.
I'd say 150.
Mate, that is so
150.
much. That is so much money to live on. What the fuck are you gonna do with 300,000 profit? And because then when you get to that,
300,000 profit.
So you built something up to get
52 weeks a year. That's fucking a lot of money.
So when you get to that level and you've got enough money rolling through and circulating where it then keeps, and you have a little inkling of how that works, to keep rolling, I'd
say the magic number in Australia is 150.
150.
150.
150,000 a year.
150 clear. So 245.
So so tie people out of that. Who's not making that trade work? You're not getting 150 clear trade work if you're still on the tools in any facet. You are about 3 steps ahead. In the mines, is different. In the mines, you might be making that. On my house, mate, good money. That man is set. That man is doing university degrees to try and spend more time with his son so that he can actually be around him because he makes all the money in the world. And he goes, no, I want to be around my kids, so I've got to I like this living, I like this money, I want to make this, but I have to roll it over. So you do something else. Not everyone has that mindset, mate, because also with mine work, you can do it for a bit. In a few years, usually you don't. Now, he's been doing it for a long time.
There's also, do you know what, Tom? There's also a lot of people that have fake injuries.
Yeah.
And that make excuses.
Yeah.
I know 1 million people that say, I can't do this because of this. And then I go to the gym and see someone get punched in the head as hard as humanly possible. and they get up and do the next round.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of people out there that are just fucking pussies, and they're fucking abusing the system.
There might be that.
So there's also a lot of them.
There might be that
and they're
too.
happy living off 50,000 a year, and we need people like that. But
I don't know if we need people like that, but
no, you do. You need people like that.
It definitely happens.
Because
It definitely happens.
Good value, but there's a lot of people out there that are very happy making 50,000 a year with 4 kids to 3 dads.
That's the issue. Now, how much do you? I won't ask you that, but the end of how much I make to pay, how much you could be comfortable, and how much money do you think you have to make to live comfortable for yourself if you don't have kids and a house and everything else?
How much do I have to?
No, that's what I'm saying. But like when you
Now?
when it gets into how much money you actually make to live as an individual if you don't have 4 kids and all this.
I would be not comfortable bringing a kid into this earth without $1,000 spare a week. Spare.
That's massive. Okay, so
Spare.
our population
Spare.
by Sav's.
Because I don't. No. That's
No,
me. Because
let me do this.
I would never bring a kid into this world without spoiling it.
So Sav and I both don't have kids. We can be honest about this, so we can speak that.
I see people struggling with kids. Like,
This
I don't
is
wanna
what we say.
fucking be that person.
100% what we say. So we don't have kids, but Sav and I are actually on a very similar regard to this. When it comes to having kids, you got to have the ability to be able to look after that kid and give the kid the best life viably
100%.
possible. If you're going to bring it in, make sure it's well looked after. But that's not
Obviously,
how,
it's not for everyone.
That's not
because
how everyone thinks. That's not how everyone thinks.
There's also other circumstances.
Many
people might accidentally have kids.
But okay, so they're getting into a weirder situation of when we talk about abortion and abortion rights, because it's like if you don't have the situation to not have a kid and you have the term to you can abort the kid because you know that you couldn't financially look after the kid and you won't be a burden on the system. Hence why we say the burden between Australian politics and what we are willing to pay for with our taxes to all different countries around the world and what their different diversifications of what we're willing to pay for and what we're willing to accept, because we need a population. We need humans to exist. I am a secular humanist. I believe in humans as the rights of human beings, the Declaration of Independence, the idea of the pursuit of happiness, rights, liberty, the pursuit of happiness, do unto others what done unto you, all these different things. But if you think that you're just going to have 12 kids and have no jobs and you're just think someone else is going to pay for all that.
They're going to be shit kids.
That's what you wonder. Like, it's not going to build up. You're not going to build yourself up to actually what is the benefit, because what? Maybe because what? You torment them so much that maybe a kid's going to excel to be a genius.
And it might happen. It might.
It might.
1 out of 100.
That's what you're saying. You can't. 1 out of 100.
1 out of fucking a million.
1 out of how many million?
Yeah.
Don't even say 1 in a million, mate. The opportunity, if you don't give them the best environment.
That's
to do
like
it.
me. Like my dogs. You met Bruno before.
Love that big boy. I was so lucky that I knew that he was a gentle giant, because he is the most intimidating dog if you saw him face to face.
He's my best friend.
Yeah.
I fucking love that dog.
You went to war with him before.
I go to war with him every day because he's a piece of shit. He's not. But when people say, "Oh, you need to train to," he's not my son. He's my mate. Like, he's my missus' son because he adores her. But he's my friend. Like, me and Bruno are mates. We go to war all the time. He's a piece of shit. I love him. If someone knocks on my front door, he's going to jump through the window and try and kill himself just to get them. Like, he's my fucking dog.
Yeah.
And I know that I'm in a position where if he needs to go to the vet tomorrow and he needs a $10,000 operation, I can say, give him 2 of them.
Yeah.
Because
there you go.
That's my fucking boy.
There you go.
I would never want to be in a situation where I have 10 kids and I got to decide which one goes to university.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
There you go. All right. All those things.
And that's a very 90s problem. Because there's obviously payment plans, this and that now. But when, like, I would never want to live beyond my means.
I was wondering where you were going with that, and that's a great analogy. It's like I never want to go beyond my means where it's like, I have that many kids. I can't
But
give,
a lot
I
of
can't
people
give
just
one
keep
kid
popping
dental.
them out, and they think it's just like, oh, we're procreating. No, you're ruining your life. You're like, a lot of people I know, they have these kids, and God bless them, they're healthy, they're fine, and they're great kids, but they don't deserve them because they're shit humans.
Yeah.
And then there's people I know that can't have kids or have had problems in their pregnancies and this and that, and they deserve the kids. So there's no fairness in it.
No.
So just because you're having 10 kids doesn't mean you're doing the world a duty.
Yeah.
You can still be a piece of fucking shit, but a lot of people take it on them as if, oh, I'm doing this and that.
Yeah. You think you're doing it right, and it's like, well,
I know
really?
I know a lot of people that want kids, and they just fucking can't get it right, and can't, like, something in the biology doesn't want it to happen.
And then we say though, we got IVF, and that's fair, but you got to pay a shitload of money for it. But think about how hard it is for a woman.
Do you know how many crackheads I see come into the shop and they got fucking like 8 kids?
I know that's the hard thing. Yeah. You just see it was like you shouldn't have done this.
You see a fucking crackhead, whether it be a male or female, whatever it is, and they'll come into the shop and they got fucking 8 kids, and their kids going to go grab a can of Solo, and they're like, no, put it back, because we can't afford that. It's like, what?
You got 8 kids, mate. How else are you paying for it? We have to live in that world, though, mate. Like,
but and even it's like, oh, they'll come in and they'll get fucking a small chips, but their kids looking at the salad and they're like, oh, can I please have that salad with the vegetables in it? Because they fucking want some
food,
form of fucking nutrients,
want some sustenance,
and they're like, nah, we're just getting a small chips today. So you don't, and you're saying, oh, don't feel like these people have a hard upbringing. These people are the same people that are coming in at night begging people for food, causing arguments, and treating it as if they're entitled, like, to some form of good treatment.
That's the world that we come into if we live in a...
There's people that have honestly been dealt a very bad hand of cards.
Dealt a shit hand.
But there's also people that are fucking idiots. And once you are around them enough, you can decipher the difference between someone that's genuinely doing it rough and someone that's just a fucking idiot.
You see it played out in public, but there's actually a thought that there's writings that people are saying about the right to be born. Is it right for the right to be born if you get born into a certain circumstance? Is it fair?
Some
because
people get a fucking shit go, bro.
That's what you say. Is it fair? But it's like, fuck, life is precious, but if you is willingly get born into a world where it's a fucking shitstorm, right, is that fair?
Yeah, but
because life to not life, because people say not life is no good. To not exist doesn't matter.
Obviously.
No one cares. But to exist, and then, can we make it better for people?
But then do you just pity everyone that's below your situation?
And that is 100% where you go, how far are we going to go? How much do you have to look after everyone below you?
How far are you going to go?
Yeah.
Like, I've been in situations with people, like when I was 18 and I was hanging around a heap of drug dealers and stuff, and I would go out and I'd fucking go on massive sessions and I'd hang out at these houses and I'd see these people. I'm like, fuck, do you have parents?
Yeah. No,
like, and I was loose.
Yeah.
Like, I'm a loose unit.
TSWS.
If anyone doesn't know, I would bet my house that I can go sesh for sesh with you.
Yeah.
On anything.
Yeah.
But when I was younger, I used to hang out with these people and I'd go to these houses and I'd see these people and I'd be like, fuck, do you have a family? Like,
that's what you say.
Because my mum, shout out to Christine, she listens to every one of my podcasts.
Love her.
She would wait up for me every single night I went out.
Yeah.
If I was coming home at 5 a.m., if I was coming home 2 days later, she would stay awake.
My auntie gave me that. Yeah, I've seen that look. My mum not so. My mum didn't. She gave me a little more leeway, whereas my auntie with her, so my cousin, my uncle, so mum's brother, her mum is much like that. So
she would
stay awake. So when I would go out to town when I was mid-20s and my cousin was 19, I'd go out to town with her, and she would trust me enough, and they knew by then I was starting to fight, so they were like, oh, goes out with it.
He can do his thing.
Goes out with the cousin, be fine. But then I saw the way she would act sometimes. She was a fucking loose unit. So it was not as much of a drink and loose unit, but man, she really wanted to get me into some fights sometimes. And I was like, you don't know how to fight. Don't get comfortable if you're not going to look after yourself. So you'd have to check her on that.
Mum for me was always my superhero.
Yeah.
Like I would go out for 2 or 3 days, and Mum would stay awake the whole time, and she would wait till I got home, and she'd honestly be like, "This is that you, Saba?" And I'd be like, "Yep," and then she'd just go to bed like that, like a fucking robot. And still to this day, like,
yeah, think about then what mums do for their boys.
My mother is very cliche to say the best mum in the world.
Yeah.
Oh. Very cliche.
But
my mum, if I came home and said I murdered someone, my mum would ask, "What's the story?"
Yeah. Man.
Because she's such a fucking ride or die woman for me.
Yeah.
And she's always been like that.
Yeah.
And that's because I'm the baby.
Yeah.
It's because I'm the baby.
I'm the baby too, mate.
You are?
Yeah. Of 3, so I'm the youngest.
I'm the youngest of 3, but my brother and sister are... My sister's 17 years older. My brother's 14.
Oh, you got a massive gap.
I was a mistake.
I was a mistake, but I was only 2 years difference. Man. You're talking. It was 2, 4, 6. My sister's 4 years. My brother's 2 years.
I was after a Greek concert.
Fucking hell.
They were playing that Greek music, and then my parents got frisky. Yeah, and then fucking it happened. And my sister heard my conception. I'm not joking.
No, you're not.
I honestly, everyone. One thing I struggle with is everyone has family problems, but me, my brother and sister, we're close. We're not hell close. Like we're not like
such an age gap.
We're not in each other's lives.
Yeah.
But we never argue to the point we're all the same. We're all the same, but we're all different. But we're all it's just generations apart. Yeah. Like my sister understands that I'm a younger generation. My brother understands. We're all close, but we're not in each other's pockets. It's always very good. Like, so when I look at other families and they have problems, I'm like, I don't understand it, because I understand it because we have a massive family in general. Like, I think me and my missus were trying to do a wedding list, and then I was like, nah, because I had 91 first cousins or something. Like, it was massive.
It's too much.
But besides the whole family, like my immediate family, no issues.
Yeah. That's what we have. Like, at the moment, my family is trying to do cousins catch-ups because, for the most part, my nana passed away last year. My nunu got dementia real bad, and
that's the worst way to go.
He's being looked after by my uncle, and look, you're talking about a man. My brother idolizes him.
That's the worst way to go.
It's we got to go one way, right? I've asked this many people. Would you rather lose your body or your mind?
Heart attack.
Would you rather lose your body or your mind?
Heart attack every day of the week.
Yeah, easy. The heart attack's the rate. What about a stroke? What about if the stroke doesn't knock you out?
My granddad had a stroke and he lost the left side of him, ended up in a wheelchair. But dementia, you lose your memories.
Yeah.
So what's more important to you?
But my uncle Ron, so he had a stroke. He was in a wheelchair. Next minute, he can barely communicate. My auntie Joyce looked after him until he passed away because of complications from that. And she said about him, she's like, he's not Ron. And that's the hard thought of, like, you want people to live and exist, but when it's not who you remember them to be because whatever their faculties got knocked out. So I've seen that in the family, and then that's the way it goes at the moment. And you look at, you just...
Do you have a strong father in the family? Do you have a King Piro?
No. Well, Nunu was King.
You have a Nunu?
Nunu was King Piro. But Nunu has lost his marbles. So it's hard. I think that's where the actual struggle comes in our family. Because let me just go. Let me just try and explain this a little bit. So we had a patriarchy, very strong in our family from an Italian background. Nunu with the family get-togethers was always, you go to Nana Nunu's house, Nana would be in the kitchen and all the aunties would help and make all the food, and the men would cook the barbecues, and Nunu was always there, made all the sauce.
He's a fucking boy.
He was, mate.
He's the fucking boy.
He was the man. Nunu.
Shout out to fucking King Piro.
Nunu. Old Mario Piro.
Mario, shout out to fucking Mario Piro.
Mario Piro,
shout out.
And not my first cousin, you son of a bitch. Don't get any ideas that that's for you. No, you got named after Mario
shout
Piro.
Out.
Because Mario, his real name's actually Murray, because he changed his name when he came from Italy to America. He changed his name from Mario to Murray.
That's like my last name.
He's Murray Piro.
My last name isn't Christodoulou.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
Because my dad, like, everyone changed their shit.
That's a weirder thing as well. It's because he said
everyone changed
when there was a lot of things from the Middle Easterns coming over for a lot, and they were saying, and my Nunu is the first time I ever heard him drop the C-bomb, because he said these fucking coming over here and saying this, and it was like, because he came after the wars after World War II, and it was like, no, you assimilate. You don't come over and take everything. You're actually coming over to flee this very bad area, and so assimilate as best you can and be very happy for it. And that's not the world we live in now.
I am more excited to finish this podcast and watch the post than
not gonna lie,
anything.
I'm with you.
Like I cannot
we should just
wait.
watch it together.
I cannot wait. As soon as this finishes, I'm putting on that post-fight press conference.
That's how close we are. It's going to be hot off the press. We're off the cuff. There's been a lot of shit going on between fights, and now you've got MMA talk and family history with Sav and Tommy. And so,
well, Tom, I love you. It's been a pleasure.
Love you always.
I knew as soon as I wanted to do this, I wanted to do it with you. And I appreciate you for coming on.
Love you, mate.
Love you too.
Always a pleasure, buddy.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Everyone, like, subscribe, and fuck off.